Here's Tanner Faust, Sebastian Loeb next to him, Kevin Hansen on his outside, the gritted teeth, full focus on the lights. We're ready for this one. Everyone knows 3-4 people. Scheider's not used his hyperdrive. Scheider going out to the outside lane. He's going to try and make that work. A little bit of a tag contact there on the back as Sebastian Loeb gets the whole shot, though, comes in. Somebody's gone off to the right-hand side. It's Tanner Faust has gone over to the right-hand side, trying to get himself out of the melee. Oh, big kicker there. That bump's come up, hasn't it? McConnell over that, and behind him, Kevin Hansen. So Faust going to slot in with a big jump in the McLaren. Comes in. Oh, Scheider's alongside him. Timo Scheider with Carl Cox Motorsport. Nicks P4 of Tanner Faust. Faust took that alternate line. But Ab Cooper out front. Sebastian Loeb with the whole shot together. Scheider never used his hyperdrive in his 20 seconds off the back in the Carl Cox Motorsport machine. So look at the contact between Faust. Faust there got squeezed. He made a late decision to go right, didn't he? After being sandwiched from both sides. If anybody makes a mistake, they're going to get eaten alive by the cars behind. There are 3 seconds between the top 5.
It's great to see Ab Cooper out in front, though, because they've really struggled over the course of this season. Down P8 in the championship
McLaren
at the moment.
on the inside, Nicky. That's a pass by Tanner Faust on the inside of Scheider. So Scheider goes back a place.
Brilliant move there from Tanner Faust. Again, such an experienced driver. Just showing everyone else who's boss. He struggled a little bit earlier in the qualifying heats.
Oh, McConnell coming in hot, very sideways, dips the wheel off almost into the ditch on the outside. Pretty sure that's the corner yesterday where Katie Munnings rolled. It is, yeah, so he did well to hold on to that through the left now, getting bounced around. It's just given Loeb a tiny bit of breathing space, but
I love this graphic. You know, you can really see how hard and how fast these guys are driving. This is such an epic car. 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds. Not what you would expect from an all-electric SUV. That instant torque means you get the instant acceleration, and you really get to enjoy that off the start of the race.
Oh, look at the kicker there. Now the rucks are really starting to develop. It's just making this course properly three-dimensional. They've all got their Renault hyperdrives left, remember, for these second 2 laps.
It's interesting to see how the condition of the track has changed as well. You know, the drivers always say they don't know what they're going to expect when they come out. So actually a little bit of intel from their teammate beforehand during the switch is really, really useful. We've seen it change from dry to wet and then back to dry over the course of the day.
Anybody going to use that in our hyperdrive? Oh, she's heading right off to the left-hand side. Gutierrez is using dry parts and she next hits the flag. Gutierrez used a dry piece of track to try and hit the flag. If it stays up, she'll get away with it, but I wonder if she's knocked that down. There's a flag down there as well, which she's just driven over. That's at waypoint 12. So I'm so pleased for Clara Anderson. You know, a couple of years ago, she was racing a BMW brilliantly in the Swedish Rallycross Championship, beating all the guys to win her title. And just 2 years later, she's now got a couple of years of the World Rallycross Championship under her belt. She's, you know, a full-time driver in Extreme E. Everybody activated their Renault hyperdrives, and she's doing a fantastic job here. You know, she never would have dreamed that she would have been teaming up with Sebastian Loeb just 2 years ago.
Right, okay, so we are coming towards the end of the redemption race. Who is it that can take some valuable points? The maximum valuable points available for them is 8 in this redemption race. Could be Ab Cooper, absolutely critical for them. They're currently only 8th in the championship at the moment. And there we have it. Clara Anderson crossing the finish line. Fantastic result for Ab Cooper, Anderson and Sebastian Loeb.
Down towards that narrow funnel. Away from the line, then Hedda Hozos on the far side. He's going to come and try and get into the middle of the pack. She drops in across the back, 3 wide. Christopherson drops out, but this time he ended up in the bushes yesterday. This time it's Timmy Hansen who goes off-roading, and Christopherson comes from the back of the pack to the lead. How has he done that? He was in P4. 2 cars went off the side of the road, and he comes through to take the whole shot. Hedda Hozos has got herself up to P4, having gone a different route on the run down. She saved her in our hyperdrive. It's Matthias Ekstrom who is right in behind Christopherson. These two have raced each other so hard, so many times in the World Rallycross Championship. This will be a thriller, and they've got to watch out because RJ Anderson's not far behind either.
That's a really interesting start from Hedda Hozos, not what we were expecting at all. Instead of going off to what is our left, she took the right-hand lane instead, managing to come out in P4, which is not bad considering she was starting from the worst lane possible. But wow, what a start for Christopherson. RXR, they just are on flying form at the moment.
Yeah, that was unbelievable, Nick. He gave the start up when he realised what was going to happen was going to be the same as yesterday. It was Timmy Hansen who ended up getting nerfed off the side of the track this time for Andretti out to Keelan. can see Header Hozos is right behind Timmy. She needs to go with him, latch onto the back of him, go with his pace, maybe try and have a crack at him using the Innova hyperdrive and hand that car over to Backrud, see what Backrud can do from there. So they're the only team that's gone with that reverse tactic. Meanwhile, Extra desperately trying to get past Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson passed him yesterday. He'll want to pass him back today.
I mean, Kristoffersson, though, if we look at the results from him over the course of this weekend, obviously they won yesterday's race. They're third in the championship. They've also won 2 of their qualifying heats. So really, they are just on top form at the moment here in Sardinia.
Well, of course, if they win the race today, if they win this grand final, they've won all 3 races they take part in today. It would be an absolutely perfect day. But you can see how close it is across the top 3. There is 3.1 seconds between them. Hansen is a further 3 seconds back after running off the side of the track, but as we said yesterday, that didn't stop RXR, and there's no reason to think Andretti Autokila can't come back from there with a bit of luck going their way.
So Matthias Ekstrom there closing the gap, just 8 tenths between him and the RXR car in front.
2.5 seconds now covering the top 3, so the gap between the top 3's come down, and the gap between them and Andretti Autokila is coming down as well. Hansen and Munnings need this not to start getting stuck into each other. That would allow them then to close the gap down a bit, and as I say that, Ekstrom is right in the mirrors of Kristoffersson, puts the car out to the right, then out to the left. He wants Johan to look in the mirrors, now looking to the inside line. We've seen plenty of passes up here. Ekstrom goes late on the brakes, but Kristoffersson knows, and look, he's nailed it onto that inside line, and he runs into the back corner, just gives him a little nudge. Watch the bumps here, particularly on the way in, just here. Look how deep that rut is now, and RJ Anderson's closing them down. Kristoffersson's got defensive. Now Anderson will attack from behind, and that might help Kristoffersson out. Going to look to try and pass Ekstrom.
Yeah, Anderson is now putting on some serious pressure to the Accio Nissan's team, that red and black car in front. So actually, I think their eye's been taken off the ball, not so much the focus on Kristoffersson, but now he's looking in his wing mirrors.
Yeah, that's what Kristoffersson wants, isn't it? He's going to be very grateful for RJ Anderson getting stuck into the back. Here they are, super close between them, 2.4 seconds. Timmy Hansen, look, is only 3 seconds back. Header Hozos is about 10. No, she's 5 off the back of Timmy Hansen, so he's broken that toe. She's just dropping a little way back, needs to try and keep up with them as she possibly can. Look how much track width they're using here. They're coming in absolutely broadside. No steering angle, just super sideways.
Every time, he just looks so calm in the car.
It's brilliant, honestly, he's brilliant.
I can't get over it.
We've seen him asleep before, just before the start, literally sitting on the grid, having a little kip. He's one of those drivers who can just conserve energy and then switch it on when he needs to. Him and Ekstrom are 2 of the very best I've had the pleasure of commentating on. They have this extra capacity outside of driving a car on the absolute limit to think with total clarity about the tactics and the decision making, and they really are among the best of the best.
So the driver's switch is now taking place. One teammate jumping out, giving a bit of intel on what to expect on the track. Next driver in, quick clean of the windscreen as well, because of course the water is...
They're struggling with the belt, sorry.
No, of course, go for it.
That looked like slow out to me for Ekstrom. Is he going to come around and help on the other side, or...? It doesn't, you know what I mean, don't you? It doesn't look as quick. Look, you can see here, Munnings is strapped in and ready to go. And they were running behind them by some 5 seconds. So have Accio Nissan had a problem there? It didn't look to me like Ekstrom could get his belts undone. That's it. No, they've got it done. It's a good switch in the end. The RXR car gets released from further back on the grid. So watch this coming out the switch zone now. And how close behind they are will give us an indication. They were 1.8 behind. Have they had a slow switch? No, they've done it. They've pulled that back. When we went on board with Ekstrom, they were struggling to get the belts off, but they have pulled it back. So now we're in for a bit of a tear up on this last couple of laps.
Some gritted teeth there from Laia Sanz. Phenomenal driver in this championship. To see her develop, she really seems at one with the car now.
5.7 seconds separate the top 4 teams as they head on to the last 2 laps. Arlen Kotlinski leads from Laia Sanz. Then got Amanda Sorensen and Katie Munnings, who are on board now with Michaela Arlen Kotlinski. As we chase the drone down, Sorensen look in P3 trying to catch up to Laia Sanz and saves, what is it now, 7.2. So Munnings maybe dropped a second back, needs to get a bit of a wiggle and try and get on the back of this train of 4. Difficult, there's not so many places that you can make mistakes on this track. We said this earlier, didn't we, Nicky, that it's not as tricky as some of them have been. I think the holes are probably where you're going to see the biggest chance of somebody making a mistake, and things like this where it's wet and slippery in the braking zone. Sorensen coming in hot behind Laia Sanz.
So they've got an output of 550 brake horsepower at their fingertips, but a 1.9-ton beast to battle against.
Yeah, and that's the thing with weight transfer, when you're trying to stop these things, that instant torque, and when you talk about someone weighing 2 tons and doing 0-60 in 4, it's very impressive. And of course, the weight is there because these cars have huge batteries in, but also the suspension and the roll cages, which make them so capable of driving over this terrain. Their performance really is pretty outrageous. If you watch some of the onboards, they're a lot faster than you think they are, and that torque goes right the way up through the rev range. This is a great performance so far by R.06. Katie Munnings at 7.6, so she's staying in touch. The gaps, they're all pretty much static at the minute.
What's quite interesting is if it finished as it is at the moment, we would have the same podium as we did yesterday in round 5. So
yeah,
they're all clearly using that momentum today. And yeah, consistency, I suppose, has been absolutely key. RXR took the win yesterday. It was Acciona Sainz who was second, and Chip Ganassi Hummer Racing in third, which is what we're looking at again.
Laya Sands is under a second behind Arlen Kotlinski. Arlen Kotlinski with the visor down needs to get that focus on. She's on the last lap now. She's got just a few seconds to go. Look at Laya Sands. Her eyebrows are raised. Her eyes are absolutely wide open. Her teeth are gritted. She is after Arlen Kotlinski. They're at waypoint number 3. There's another 8 or 9 waypoints to go. We know there's a good passing opportunity at number 5 and at number 10. She'll try everything, but the minute she's hampered, she can't quite see where she's going. Munnings is coming towards the back of Sorensen as well. And Andreas Backer has closed the gap down by a couple of seconds for JBXE, but I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough. Katie Munnings has got her right in her sights. Look at that, how conservative Arlen Kotlinski is through the left-hander. She's waiting on the throttle, keeping it tight in on the apex behind her. Contrast that with Laya Sands, who is throwing the car around all over the road. Very different driving styles. Sands dropping back a little bit now. She was under a second behind. She's 1.4 off. This could be the battle for the last podium place. Katie Munnings is just 0.7 of a second behind Amanda Sorensen. The Andretti Autokila machine trying to find a way past the GMC Hummer.
It's interesting to see Backer, and he hasn't actually been able to close the gap as much as perhaps we were expecting.
Yeah, I think that thing of just there not being so many places to make a mistake on the course, and these guys haven't made any mistakes at all. It's been almost a perfect day for Rosberg X Racing. Arlen Kotlinski sweeps around the last corner. They've won all 3 races today, and they've won both rounds in Sardinia. Another win for RXR. Arlen Kotlinski and Christopherson take P1, P2. Acciona Sainz for Laya Sands. She got within an ace of it, but not quite. And Munnings has nicked it. Katie Munnings takes P3 somewhere just before the flag for Andretti Autokila. She's got past the Hummer EV. Fantastic result for them to drag a podium out on that final lap. Brilliant.
Absolutely phenomenal result for Andretti. They really needed that. There's a very satisfied Katie Munnings. We've got to say a massive congrats, you know, not just for winning this race, but over the course of the weekend in Sardinia, they've won 4 of their races.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's 4 out of 6. 3 today. Champagne time. Munnings and Hansen as well. How pleased will they be to be on the podium? They weren't on the podium until about 150 metres before the finish line. Amazing performances by Andretti Autokila for P3. Acciona Sainz with a double P2 this weekend. Rosberg X Racing with 2 wins from 2 events, and they're right back in the championship fight.
Let's take a look at the grand final results. So JBXE, who managed to actually get through to the grand final, unfortunately finished in P5. Then, of course, we had Sorensen in P4, then Andretti in P3, and it was a fantastic battle between Acciona Sainz and RXR. But it's Christopherson and Arlen Kotlinski who took the win today for round 6 in Sardinia. 4 out of 5 races in Sardinia. Phenomenal achievement. So let's look at the team's standings at the moment. 109 points, just 4 points in it between Acciona Sainz and RXR Racing. A 10-point gap with Veloce Racing behind GMC Hummer EV in 4th in the championship, with X44 Vida Carbon Racing on 59 points. Another 4-point gap between them and Andretti Autokila, with Neon McLaren and Abt Cupra down there in the 40s. Carl Cox Motorsport still looking for some extra points on the board, joint there with JBXE in P10.